I'm Vince Villegas with the Villegas Group.
And I'm Evan Beach with Villegas Group.
And today we're going to talk about the most common questions that we as agents get in the industry. And we're going to answer those questions for you. And so these are the questions that we hear every single day, and also many of the questions that our clients have emailed us and asked us over the last several years. So Evan, when you're out in the field, give me some questions. Tell me what you hear most frequently.
I would say probably number one on the list, whether it's a buyer's consult or a listing appointment, number one that people want to find out is how much do you charge? How much do you cost?
It's a great question. And so when people are asking that question, they ultimately want to understand what their total expenses are going to be as it relates to either selling their home or buying their home. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So it's a fantastic question. And let's break that down and answer it for both buyers and sellers. And so when you're representing a seller, or if a seller is calling you to have you represent them, the seller typically pays a commission, and that commission is then paid to both the listing agency and also the buying agency. Now, it's important to note that there's no standard commission in any way. However, there are common pricing amounts that we charge and that other agencies have chosen to charge on their own. But at the end of the day, there's not a standard commission or a standard charge. So it's important also for the consumer to understand, or for our likely client or customer to understand, what's important to them in the overall transaction. So as an example, if one agency has a track record of getting more success than the other agency, and when I say success, I mean getting more for that house than somebody else, then that would be a better value, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So, Evan, as an example, if you gave me $1 and I gave you $4 in return, would that be a transaction that you would do every day?
Yes,
right.
For sure. And if it's the more it is, the better, obviously.
Sure, absolutely. So same thing comes down to how we transact real estate. So if we give our clients $1, or if they give us $1 and we give them $4 in return, that means that it's a great value, it's a great exchange. And so when you're ultimately interviewing agents, it's important that you understand the value that the agent and that the agency is bringing to the table. Oftentimes, the least expensive solution is not typically the best solution. And so it's important that you just understand the overall picture and understand the value and the track record that that agency has and that agent has to ensure that you're getting a great exchange for your dollar. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Now, when you're representing a buyer transaction, now there are certainly some expenses when you are buying a home. Those are called closing costs. And you've got closing costs that range from working with a lender to buying the house, inspections, so on and so forth, and then there are always some real estate agency expenses. And so now at our firm, Villegas Group, we're a designated agency firm. So what that means is that all of the people that we represent, that we're going to serve them at a high level, but we're going to do that with an agency contract in place. And that agency contract spells out the expenses the buyer is going to have in the transaction. Now, the good news is that you and all of our other sales associates are very good at negotiating to have most of that paid for by the seller, correct?
That's right.
Absolutely. Yet at the end of the day, there sometimes is some remaining closing costs left over for the buyer. And the good news is, though, that most of the time you guys are very, very skilled at negotiating to have the seller cover most of those expenses for the buyers.
That's right.